All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Wars in the Stars. Today is episode 37. I am going to be doing a What If episode 9, the season finale review. We're going to talk a little bit about the Venom 2 box office numbers, what they mean, how did the movie make so much. We're going to talk about the Eternals marketing open up and the official confirmation the movie will be 2 hours and 37 minutes long, like me and Alex talked about. And finally, we're going to talk about a Star Wars story coming from Jordan Mason over at Cinelinx, saying that he believes that Obi-Wan Kenobi will premiere in May. As you may notice, Alex is not here. Alex at the work, I believe, and he said he would get here at some point, I believe. So he might be on later. I'm not sure if he got or he's busy with work or something. But yeah, um, so I have one announcement to make besides that, and we're going to go over the October schedule. Obviously, this is our first of four shows in October. Um, this week, Alex and I will be doing a rewatch of Solo, a Star Wars story. On the 20th of October, we'll be doing a rewatch and re-review of the Clone Wars anthology movie. And finally, on the 27th, we will do a rewatch and re-review of Rogue One. So basically, we're going to do all three of the anthology movies in the Star Wars franchise to fill up the October time, which it seems, as of right now, that October is going to be a pretty bare month when it comes to content. I think the biggest thing we might get is a Hawkeye trailer, or maybe at the most, a big trailer for Spider-Man: No Way Home, or our first look at Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as that movie is 6 months out, and usually start to market a movie 6 months out. So maybe that at the end of the month as well, or a Book of Boba Fett. There are some possibilities, but I really think, no Marvel, no Star Wars shows past this point. Uh, Things will start to ramp up once Eternals comes out for the rest of the year and subsequently into 2022. But anyways, guys, it is time to go into our main topic, which is what if episode 9. Now, I haven't seen many people talk about the episode yet. And I watched the episode this morning, and overall, I was satisfied. Um, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing the team come together. I enjoyed seeing the camaraderie. I enjoyed seeing the roles that certain characters took on, because it definitely signals to me that these characters are going to have a bigger role. Obviously, we had Sorcerer Supreme Strange trapped in the that dimension, that little ball, taken by the Watcher to help lead the Guardians of the Multiverse, as he calls them, at the end of episode 8. And in this episode, it illustrates to us that out of all of the multiversal stories we have seen, Supreme Strange is by far the strongest. We have seen he might even be the most strongest thing we have seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not going to say he is, but the protection spell was very powerful, as it stopped Ultron, who could literally destroy galaxies without a thought, as he said. Uh, so that was pretty cool to see. I think he was the standout of the episode, obviously. His sacrifice at the end, well, he didn't sacrifice himself, but him putting the team on his shoulders and trapping Killmonger and the Zola Vision Ultron thingy in that dimension, to where they would fight endlessly forever, as Strange is trapped in his own dimension. Um, and then we got Captain Carter. Obviously, she was taken by the Watcher during her events of what would be Captain America, the Winter Soldier. She has a stealth suit. I know Alex is a big costume guy, so he loves the stealth suit. She has a stealth Britain suit on, which is really cool, and we basically get similar, or pretty much the same dialogue, just in a little bit of reverse, between Natasha and Captain Carter. Captain Carter goes on to fight Batroc the Leaper, and before that fight can even end, um, the Watcher comes in and takes her. We also get Ego trying to, use the powers of Peter Quill to destroy the universe, and then we see Star Lord T'Challa come in and save the day. And we see again the Watcher come in and pick him up. We get we get Gamora. We get Gamora, I believe, next, and that was an episode. I want to kind of touch on that a little bit. That was an episode that was cut because of COVID. Um, they really couldn't get much done with it. I guess that whoever was animating or editing that, the studio was decimated by COVID. Um, Meaning a lot of people must have got and they couldn't meet the deadline, so they couldn't get the episode wrapped up. And for me personally, it kind of bothered me a little bit because she does play a central role in the episode. I mean, she literally has the things that is supposed to, the Infinity Stomper or whatever they call it, thing that's supposed to crush and destroy Infinity Stones. So that was a little upsetting to me that like we didn't get to see how she destroyed Thanos and survived on Sakaar. What the hell happened on Sakaar? Why were Tony and Gamora there? This was a leak a while ago. I believe the Illuminati had the report that this was going to be an episode, but obviously it never aired, and it will probably air next season, but it will probably feel out of place if the show takes a similar format to as it did this year, or this season, I should say. So I was a little underwhelmed by that. I think you could have just cut her out of this episode, maybe. I don't know how difficult that would have been, or like how much reworking they would have had to done, or how far into production they were when that happened. So it would have definitely been very difficult for them to do anything of that sort. But yeah, it it just felt out of place to me. I didn't hate it, but it just felt out of place. So then we see the Watcher go and get Party Thor, where we see Ultron enter last um, on Party Thor's Earth. He's fighting the Ultron bots, which is interesting because Ultron was on the planet of Earth, but we don't see the actual Ultron Vision hybrid. He must have left or something and just left his bots to go and deal with it. And then the Watcher takes him. And then we meet the Guardians of the Multiverse. Oh, and we also see Killmonger. And some time has progressed in that storyline too, where Killmonger has now destroyed Wakanda, and Pepper and a young Shuri are after um, Killmonger, but Killmonger is taken away, which is it's very strange to me that Killmonger is picked to be a part of this team by the Watcher. Like why? Why? We know he's a villain in the main MCU timeline. We know in this one he is definitely a sinister villain that plays both sides. And I would assume throughout the multiverse, he is most likely a villain most of the time. There's probably not a lot of stories where Eric Killmonger is the good guy in the end. Um, so I was really confused by that, why he was ever on the team. But I do like the dynamic he had with Chala, Star Lord, and um, Eric, Eric's Black Panther, because it's two polar opposites for the actual characters in the MCU. Obviously, Eric Killmonger will never. He was Black Panther, obviously, in the first Black Panther movie, but he'll never be the Black Panther. He'll never be known as that. And T'Challa as Star Lord is so outlandish and so out there that you would never see a prince and a king of a foreign magical land um, be basically a pirate in space. It's a polar opposite of what you would expect for the character like T'Challa. Uh, so yeah, that's the beginning of the episode, and then subsequently we get them in the bar, and Peggy sees a picture of Steve. Um, the Watcher gives them the plan. Talks a little bit about the Infinity Stones and their power. And I love how What If has expanded upon certain characters. Obviously, Zola obviously Ultron, and even the Infinity Stone lore. The Infinity Stones don't just have to stop at the Infinity Saga. You could expand upon it more. I like this. I like how this explains how humble Thanos actually was with the Infinity Stones. Yes, he did uh, decimate and destroy half of the universe, but Ultron is literally going from planet to planet and multiverse to multiverse, destroying different universes just because he wants to. Was Thanos right by destroying the stones? Yes, because he knew that there would be somebody else down the line, maybe in his universe, maybe in another universe. Maybe Thanos had knowledge of other universes. I don't think he did, but he knew that somebody worse than him would come down the line. So that's really interesting to me with the Infinity Stone lore. And I understand that in the comics, it's an established canon fact in the comics that Infinity Stones can't work outside their universe, but obviously it doesn't really matter. It doesn't seemingly matter in What If, and I would assume it won't matter in the Marvel Cinematic universe and multiverse as a whole. So to continue on with the episode, we get the first fight with Ultron. Thor lights up the sky. Ultron sees that there are people in this universe. He didn't think there were people in this universe, so he didn't destroy it. We get that first fight with Ultron that ends with the zombies coming. We see the Scarlet Witch zombie, and she has a brief fight that kind of mirrors the fight that Wanda has in Avengers Endgame with Thanos, and she does pretty good against Ultron, and then she realizes it's Vision. And I didn't pick up on it the first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it this morning, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. It looks like Vision." And we don't see the ending of that fight. I think she probably dies at the end because she doesn't realize like it's not Vision. Um, or she might, but it might be too late. And Vision Ultron thingy is too powerful for Wanda. And yeah, so but anyways, it's a distraction. They're able to get the Soul Stone. They transport it through the portal, and Black Widow from episode 8 takes it away, and she's very confused because she's supposed to be the only person left on this planet. And I will say, to go on a little side tangent before we go further into the episode, Natasha was great in this show. And almost every single episode she was in of What If, she was the highlight and she was the best main point. Episode 3 was about a murder mystery of all the Avengers died, and she was at the forefront of it. She was the one doing the investigating, and she had a pretty significant role. Episode 8, we see her again at the forefront with her and Hawkeye. We get a more expanded upon relationship between her and Hawkeye, and we get a reversal of what happens in the Avengers Endgame, where Clint makes the sacrifice play. And I also love her arc in this episode, where she's the last one left on her planet, but the Watcher ultimately gives her a widowless world. What I think would have been way more fascinating and crazy, I don't think it would ever happen. But if you wanted to make What If even connect more to the MCU, sure, it does just set up Doctor Strange 2 in a way where we will possibly see characters like Captain Carter and Sorcerer Supreme Strange. But we do see some other characters, uh, uh, you know, what was that? Where was I going with this? Oh, we were talking about who were we talking about? Why did I just blank on that? Talking about Natasha, right? So um, Natasha goes to a widowless world, and it's the world that in episode 3 that we see where Loki is the leader of Earth. We see Captain America, who is frozen, and Captain Marvel fighting off the Asgardians. And she goes in and kicks Loki's butt, which I thought was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I love Natasha in this. Natasha gets her shining moment redeeming Clint. she just overall seems like a more well developed character. It's almost kind of like ridden the mistakes that they made with Natasha in the MCU, more of a side character, but in this, they could expand upon her character and what she would have been like or what she could have been like, um, as a main hero or a more focused on hero. Because obviously, she was at the forefront of the Avengers. We had the big three. So yeah, I really enjoyed her character. Uh, yeah, I really enjoyed her character. But uh, yeah, to continue with the episode as a whole, uh, one second. Uh, I thought she was great. Again, she was great, and Tasha was great. Gamora was kind of a distraction, like I was saying, because we didn't know her story, we didn't know her background. Killmonger and T'Challa was really interested. Obviously, we knew Killmonger always had something up his sleeve. He decides to. He has the Ultron bought the whole time. Again, it's really weird to me that the Watcher brought him in, but I understood it. I like the dynamic between him and T'Challa, obviously. Uh, and he takes the Infinity Stones from Ultron after Zola, which again another interesting character you wouldn't think we would see in the rest of the MCU, uh, but we ultimately end up seeing him again. Uh, so yeah, overall, I thought that was really good, really interested, and I believe in the comics we do see Zola's body as like a stomach or his head, and I like how they did that with Ultron or at that point Vision because his armor had shedded and gone on to Killmonger, where Killmonger now possessed the Infinity Stones, and Killmonger did the thing where it was like, yeah, I have the Infinity Stones. You could do good for your world. Hey, Peggy, you could get your girl. Strange, you know why we need these. Uh, Star Lord, Party Thor. You guys could use these to protect your home worlds, right? So it's like he doesn't really mean that. He's trying to manipulate them, and T'Challa realizes that the rest of them don't. Um, and Zola and them fight. I think Zola had other plans with them once he took over the Ultron body because really at that point, what other help did he possess to the Guardians of the Multiverse? So, uh, yeah, that was a really interesting fight. I wish we got a little bit more with it, honestly, and I wish we got a little bit more with Ultron. I know episode 8 felt like Infinity War to me, where it was just big storytelling into the villain, his backstory, everything about him. And then episode 9 was that epic team up that dealt with the villain, and the villain wasn't at the forefront as much. Uh, and I really enjoyed Ultron. They expanded on his lore. Again, I think the three standouts to me, and it's really fascinating that they brought these characters in and expanded upon the story. Are Ultron, obviously, Age of Ultron. He's good. I really like him, but this just takes him up a notch. It what this fits the title of Age of Ultron better than the movie Age of Ultron does. It just shows how powerful he could have been if he meshed with the organic body of his vision. Zola, who we think we last see during the Winter Soldier, during the Civil War days. Um, and no, we get to see him again in What If, and we get to see him play a big role, basically saving the multiverse from Ultron. But again, it would have been interesting to see maybe at some point Strange lets them out in season 2 where they escape and Zola and Killmonger maybe decide to team up or something along those lines. Um, and Killmonger's story was really interesting. One second.
Oh
Alan?
man, is this a cool kids club?
Yeah, you're a little late. It's
um,
okay.
how? Oh, I'm playing it, but I'm fine.
Your mic is really bad or it's not plugged in or
Oh shoot, hold on. Okay, how's it now?
you're better. You're good.
Okay,
All right.
fine.
So before I get before I ask Alex about the episode, Alex told me 8:30 and it was 8:45, and I'm like, he hasn't responded. I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna.
I told you earlier today was gonna be a weird day. Okay.
You did, but you said 8:30, so I just started without you. But anyways, Alex, how's it going, my man?
Hectic day at work. Oh, let's just say that.
Okay, so
But
I've talked for 20 minutes about what if. I want to hear your thoughts.
oh shoot! So I was playing the podcast on my TV.
Okay.
I enjoyed the episode. Um, man, I know you're talking about last I heard because I had to mute before I came in. You were talking about Zola and all that. I thought he was honestly kind of one of the most interesting parts of the episode. I think it was funny that he killed Ultron of all things, like how it was one of Captain America's villains killed Iron Man's villain in this. So really like that little, you know, parallel with each other. Excuse me. Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. In terms of finales, I thought it was okay. It was something that like I started get like spinning like why is Killmonger here? Why is he here? Um I thought they were gonna bring Shuri from that universe in. I was like, are they gonna bring Shuri into this? No, it was Killmonger. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I also thought the Infinity Stone Crusher felt a little too
Convenient.
convenient. Like, oh yeah, we also have this machine in my universe that can destroy Infinity Stones.
But it didn't work. So
It didn't work. So it's like, who cares?
and I was talking about this earlier before you came in. I'm like, not having the Gamora and Iron Man episode just really threw me off. It
Yeah.
just
I was like,
I
what?
understand. I understood because of COVID they couldn't do it, but I wonder if they were too late into animation and production and everything to like take her out of the episode because it felt really like out of place. Like it just felt like out of left field.
Agree. I was just like, it felt like we were supposed to already know her.
Right.
And I didn't. So I didn't care for her. I wish she honestly would have died in the episode. At least it would have made me care.
Right. I'm just like, okay, she killed Thanos in this universe. Like, what else happened?
Right. What was the turning point that happened?
Yeah.
But
right.
Whatever, you know. It is what
Yeah,
it is.
like the Watcher like refers to her as like we're supposed to know her somehow. Like I didn't see this happen. It was just out of place. It felt odd to me. It's gonna be a season 2 episode, I believe, but like at that point it's
too
odd.
late. It's
too
odd.
Late. It's strange to me. I'll say, Alex.
Go ahead. Oh no, I was just gonna say it feels like if that episode isn't season 2, it feels like we're going off like some Clone Wars episode releases.
Right.
Like just some very weird placement in where the episodes came out.
Right. And I wanted to go into my point. I think my two favorite Guardians of the Multiverse in this episode were by far Captain Carter. I talked about this earlier also. She had the stealth suit. Her own version of this.
Looked beautiful, by the way.
It was great. And Supreme Strange, I feel like they went all in on that character.
Yeah.
Not just with his own episode, but he was great in this episode.
I also feel bad for him because now he's basically like stuck in eternity to watch that universe. So, yeah. I also now want to ask you a question. I asked you this last week when we talked. Do you think we could see the Watcher in the background of the movies, like Multiverse of Madness or anything like that? Do you think after this finale your answer has changed?
No. I still think he's a what if type of thing. Not yet. Not yet for the movies.
I also think it's a little too early.
Yeah.
Although I would really like to see him just like an edit into every single MCU movie. Just like, and it also doesn't have to be something like so obvious. Like, like how we see him like in some of the episodes, like real up close and personal.
Right.
But like just even if you like put the dots, like if you put 2 stars in the background, and if you were to go into like Photoshop and put a circle around it, oh, that's the Watcher watching. I wish we could just get something like that. I don't need a whole like I don't need him like narrating. Although I do think going forward he should narrate the movies, but that's just me. So
Why do you say that?
I just think it would be just so interesting to hear him narrate the movies. Not like have him narrate like everything, but like just kind of like how he opens up the episodes of What If.
I
Like
am
that.
the watcher. I am your
Yeah.
guide through these vast new realities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
Also,
I
yeah.
wouldn't mind that.
Also going along the side of the multiverse of madness. Let me
Hmm.
tell you, you know the Loki episode 6 opening? If
Hmm.
we don't get that on Multiverse of Madness, I riot.
Hmm.
Storming down to Disney's offices, knocking on the door, and crying on their at their feet, like, "Why didn't you do this? It was such a missed opportunity."
So, I have a couple questions for you.
Okay,
Do you think we see any of these characters in that movie?
I honestly don't.
You don't.
I don't.
I definitely think we see Captain Carter and Supreme Strange. Like they've really heavily focused on those two characters,
But it's just
and
like,
I feel like it's been so heavily rumored with them. It makes sense since they were two big focuses.
so what's the one tentacle monster who's rumored to be in Multiverse of Madness? Shimagora.
Shumagorath,
Yeah.
yes,
Do you think that's Supreme Strange?
it could be. It could be.
And do you really think we'll see Captain Carter?
I, maybe not this version of Captain Carter, but if the Illuminati thing is true, and I will say, based on some leaks from the past week, like there are I won't say specifically that, but there are like pre VFX shots
Hmm.
that I've seen of certain characters. I won't say it hasn't. I will say it's not Captain Carter, but just some types of characters that I think are so odd that it would make sense that Captain Carter is in this. Like they're so weird. You wouldn't. Why are they in the movie? That like yeah, sure. Why
Right.
not? Why not throw Captain Carter in there?
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. But honestly, it would feel weird to have her in there. Like before we get the Watcher in there.
Just a
Yeah,
cameo. I mean, I don't think it'd be big.
that's where I think we should see the Watchers in Multiverse of Madness or in Spider-Man No Way Home.
I really feel like it would make sense if he was just a cameo. Like I feel like that movie is just gonna deal with like I really feel like we're gonna get a scene that's reminiscent of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when they fly through the portals and stuff really quick,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of like Strange going through the multiverse.
Yeah.
And he's going through a bunch of universes and he sees a
Yeah.
bunch of weird
Let,
characters.
yeah. Let me also ask you this: where do you think, coming off of what if, going into our next multiverse story of Spider-Man No Way Home, where do you think Multiverse of Madness takes place? Like, how far from No Way Home do you think it takes place?
Maybe right after?
I feel like it would have to.
Right.
What are you going to explain as that time jump to have the multiverse open for so long?
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to have like a Force Awakens Last Jedi treatment.
Yeah, I totally agree. But back to what if. Back to what if. I was saying, I don't know if you watched it, but I was saying I felt like episode 8 of What If was Infinity War, when we get the backstory of the villain, and
Mm-hmm.
then episode 9 was that big heroic team up of all of our favorite heroes. And we
Yeah.
didn't get much with Ultron. I wish we got a little bit more with him. He was still good
Yeah.
in this episode, but like that's how I felt. I enjoyed episode 8 more than episode 9. I don't know how you personally felt yourself.
Far better. Far better.
Yeah. And yeah, do you got any other thoughts about this episode before we give like our in season like what was our favorite episode and what do you
Yeah.
give the show?
For this episode, I honestly just kind of wish it was just like a little longer. You know, just give us more reason to have Killmonger and
It
Gamora.
makes sense.
It made no sense to have Gamora or Killmonger there. But yeah, ultimately, I'd probably give the rating of this episode probably like a 7.5 out of 10. It was solid, rewatchable. I definitely say it's probably the most rewatchable episode.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know if you talked about this. When the Watcher picked up Thor, oh my goodness. I was just like, if you're in that universe and you're just seeing this happen from afar, what is your reaction to just seeing this huge god figure just vanish with someone in their hand?
Right. And like I don't understand how the Watcher goes so big and then goes so small. Like he just goes from giant to
Who knows?
who knows, man. But hey, he's the Watcher. He can do what he wants. But what'd you think of the after credit scene?
I saw it and I was intrigued. I was like, it feels weird that we haven't had a post credit scene in What If yet. It just
Right.
feels off.
Again, I liked it, but it fell out of place again. It's like, why are we going back to this?
It also, like, to
It did
me,
us doesn't place significance into like a larger multiverse. It's just like, oh,
it
we're gonna
also
get
to
more of a story.
yeah, I was gonna say it more or less just feels like a setup for season two. But we also
Right.
didn't get like we didn't get like how with Loki got it, with like Loki will return in season two. I wish we would have got like Captain Carter will return in season two.
I'm pretty sure they confirmed she will.
Well, I know, but it's just like that
Right.
icing on top. Like we all basically got Loki was probably gonna have a season two.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's just me.
What would you give the show overall out of a 10? And what was your favorite episode?
I'd probably give the show probably a good 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think I don't think it was the best of Phase Four. I don't think it was the
nah.
worst either. I think if we're ranking Phase Four now that What If is complete, I would probably go in no particular for the top three. Probably, and are we including, since spoiler alert, Venom 2 is a part of the MCU?
So here's my thing with like including those movies. Cause when Toby and Andrew ultimately end up in No Way Home, do I have to include that?
Well, technically, we would be including the Raimi films in Phase One. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 would be in Phase One, and then the Amazing Spider-Man 2 would be in Phase Two.
And then what if like certain X-Men characters show up? Do I include those? That gets weird.
It does, but the X-Men timeline also sucks. So it's just like, what are you gonna do about it?
I
Um,
guess you could include Venom if you want to,
yeah.
yeah.
If
But
I
Venom
had to,
makes more sense than Toby and Andrew
yeah,
because
I'm gonna include Toby and Andrews as a part of Phases One and Two. That's just me. If you don't want to, then by all means don't. I
I
would
don't
probably
care.
I would probably put, again, no particular order for my top three. Probably put Shang-Chi, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and trying to remember everything that's come out, and probably Loki
Yeah.
in the top three. And I'd probably say What If after.
I can
So
agree. I would put probably Loki, Shang-Chi. I liked the Falcon and the Winter Soldier more than most people did, but I liked it a little bit better than Venom. So, well, no, I shouldn't say that. I should say Venom, and
mhm,
then probably Falcon, and then
yeah,
What If, and then WandaVision. And WandaVision just wasn't my type of show. No
yeah.
disrespect, but just wasn't my type of show.
I honestly don't think we've had a single bad thing in Phase Four.
Like just a bad total show. No.
Just no, just like certainly for me, Falcon and the Winter Soldier just wasn't for me. I don't like the big action shows like that.
Hmm.
Um, I just, but I don't think it was bad either. There were some bad
Right.
element. There were some bad parts, but bad overall, no. The story of Sam becoming Captain America is iconic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the Isaiah Bradley stuff is amazing. Bucky's amazing. It's just there were some things that just didn't work.
John
And
Walker's good.
yes, John Walker is easily one of the best characters to come from Phase Four.
Right.
So, but yeah, ultimately, I just don't think we've had a single bad thing. Again, a few bad apples, sure. What if didn't have the greatest episodes in it? But it
Right.
doesn't mean it was bad. I'd also say like its easiest comparison, just because of how recent it was the Bad Batch. Miles better than
Better.
the Bad Batch.
And that just hurts to say as somebody who's one of their favorite pieces of Star Wars is Star Wars animation.
Yeah.
So
And I also just think What If proved that 30-minute episodes just work better.
yeah,
This
yeah.
whole thing
And I
of
never
there you go.
I I felt like I wanted more in a good way. Sometimes with the Bad Batch, I'd be like, I want more, but like in a bad way. Like that sucked. Like that, I
Yeah.
24 minutes for that.
Right, yeah.
Um, And I felt like 9 or 10 episodes works perfectly. I don't
Yeah,
need more than that.
perfect length. I don't. I think 16 was too excessive.
Yeah,
I felt overwhelmed with the amount of episodes there was with the Bad Batch,
yeah, I
especially
agree.
especially when half of them were not good.
Right. There was only like 8 that I really liked.
Yeah, 8 rewatchable.
Right.
So
Um.
it's just me.
Yeah. So that's it for what if.
Well, wait! You didn't give your ratings.
Oh, I'll give it an 8 or 8.5 out of 10. I think my favorite episode was obviously the Supreme Strange one. It's one of my favorite things from Phase 4.
Mm. I still
Um.
I still say I think the hands down best episode, and there's probably bias to this, is the T'Challa Star Lord episode.
Right. And by
I
the
just
way,
love that episode so much.
it's the last performance in the MCU.
That's
Chadwick's.
yeah.
It
We got
doesn't
to
feel right to say that.
we got to see him as the Black Panther one last time, and we got to see him as T'Challa Star Lord.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Terrible.
yeah.
So sad. Okay, guys, it's time to move into our smaller topics. The first smaller topic we have is Venom. Venom 2 made 90, 90 million in 3 days. That is 20 million more than Shang-Chi made and 10 million more than Black Widow made in July. I'm going to pull this article coming from Variety, talking a little bit about it. You know, uh, that's amazing. And this is domestic box office, obviously. It sets a pandemic record. Um, I think it talks a little bit how it made more than its first one. It also made 13 million in Russia. Um, yeah, that's incredible. 62% of the ticket buyers were male and 55% were under the age of 25. That makes sense. Um, yeah, Venom's the first comic book adventure with Hardy at the helm opened to 80 million, and that was before a global health crisis. So Venom 2 exceeded expectations
Yeah.
by a mile, and I don't know how it did it. I just don't know.
I
Alex and
hon-
I good.
I honestly want to tell you the truth. I think it was because of the post credit scene. I
I don't
think
think that was it.
I think it is. I think once people heard that it's MCU canon, people were just like, fine, now it's actually worth watching.
I think there's a multitude of reasons. I think people underestimate how much they like. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons. Obviously, without the end credit scene spoilers, Venom already has a relation to. Let's just talk about why this movie did better than Shang-Chi. This movie, Venom has a relation to Spider-Man. We know that just from comics. We know that just a basic person might know that.
Yep.
It's a comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
People love those. People eat those up. Tom Hardy,
Yep.
well-known A-list actor, played Bane and the Dark
Mm-hmm.
Knight trilogy, and which I
Woody.
totally forgot about. I remember how we said last week that Venom is his most iconic role. It might be Bane, but I think you could make an argument it's now
Yeah.
Venom.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson obviously is Carnage. Um, yeah, though, and people liked the first Venom, I guess, just general audiences. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the big reason. To compare that with Shang-Chi again, I think Shang-Chi is a better movie in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't have A-list actors. It wasn't a familiar comic book character,
And yeah,
and
it was also a comic book character that had lots of controversy surrounding it.
right, correct, and it was I don't want to say catered, but it was directed towards an audience that in more of the Asian Pacific markets. It wasn't it's not a lot of Asian Americans. Well, there are a lot of Asians in America, but it was more directed. Marvel wanted this movie to be a hit in the Asian Pacific markets to get that fan
Yeah.
base up because why not have more fans, more money, more projects. So that's the big reason why Shang-Chi happened. Obviously, Simu Liu was great, and it's a great addition to the MCU. But from a money and financial standpoint, that's a big reason why it happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I would agree. Probably after the movie released, when people heard it was MCU canon, when you heard rumors that Spider-Man was in it, you definitely went and saw it. So I
Oh
definitely
yeah.
think that contributed to it. Alex, you got anything to like add about why you think
Yeah.
Venom 2 did so well in the box office?
Oh, people heard there was a new Eminem song at the end. Bro, it bangs. It bangs. Both Venom Eminem songs are just so good.
Right.
One of
Yeah.
them was a TikTok trend audio, bro. Like, did you
Yes.
know that? I legit listen to the Let There Be Carnage credits music all the time. It's such a good song.
It is. Eminem makes bangers. I wish he would have made a song for Carnage where he just goes, Carnage,
Yeah,
Carnage.
it's just crazy how good those songs go.
It's so
So
funny. And then
yeah,
it's like just, it was a massive trend on TikTok, so everyone knew it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
but
I want to ask you. We've now had two Marvel movies recently come out. Both did really well. Shang-Chi did amazing in the box office. Venom is looking like it's going to do amazing as well in the box office. Does this give you hope for Eternals?
yes. It's a couple
Does
of
me
things
too.
though. It's a couple of things. So this is the next question. What does this mean? What does 90 million mean for movies moving forward? So I think Eternals is gonna do fine. I think it will make around the 70 to 90 mil. Um, I think it'll probably make more than Shang-Chi. Maybe will make less than Venom. But I'm not sure. They have an A-list actor, Angelina Jolie, Chloe Zhao, Academy Oscar, whatever Oscar Emmy. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm
Is it
pretty sure.
Oscars?
I think she's either an Oscar award winning or she's an Academy Award winning.
Yeah, Academy Award winning director. So that's definitely a draw, and it's a MCU movie, so people will go and watch it. So I think it will probably it'll be close with Shang-Chi. It'll be in that 70 to 90 mil ballpark. The really interesting one to me now is Spider-Man: No Way Home. Okay, we got a lot of things going for it. It
I
had
will. Oh yeah, go ahead.
it had the most viewed trailer ever in 24 hours, more viewed than Avengers: Endgame, The Force Awakens. That's insane.
Infinity War.
Possibility of the three Spider-Man in one movie. A lot of
with
people's childhoods.
with some very convincing leaks, by the way.
Right. And with the villains literally being in the trailer.
Yeah,
Um, it's Spider-Man. Always
I
been more popular than the MCU characters like Iron Man, even Captain America. Like Spider-Man's the most popular, arguably, comic book character of all time.
I would say Superman, but
I said arguably. You could
okay.
probably what? Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man, right? That's a top three. That's fair, right?
Which, if you think about it, is a very weird three to be the most popular.
Right. They're the most generic, if I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, no, you got like good guy who does good things. You got guy who wears black bat cowl and fights crime.
Who
Then you just
rich? Who's
yeah,
rich?
whose literal superpower is being rich.
And then you
And
got stereotypical New York kid gets bitten by a spider and is wicked smart and is poor and has an aunt and his uncle always just dies.
yeah, basically.
Right.
Yeah. That's literally all you have to say is I'm going to describe a superhero and you're going to get the most basic description of people.
Right. Right. And um yeah, those are two big things that the movie has going for it. And it's in December. It's like Christmas time, so everybody wants to go see the big movie, right? You know?
But I also want to ask you about this. Hawkeye's coming out just around the same time. Do you think that could deter people from going? Getting too much Marvel. Oh
No.
man. But getting too much
No.
Marvel too close to each other.
Sorry, Alex. I know you love the character of Hawkeye, but I think people would might skip out on that over
Yeah.
Super Spider-Man.
But
Uh,
another thing, Book of Boba Fett doesn't come out very soon after either. Do you think
I
that could
don't think that.
also? I don't know
No,
either, man.
I don't think
I
that matters.
I think this. Okay, I think Spider-Man: No Way Home has the potential to make at least minimum $350 million. I think it. I don't think it reaches a billion. I don't see it happening.
I see it making 150 million opening weekend, 40 million more than Venom. If the Venom numbers are 90 million domestically for 3 days, I see no reason to believe that Spider-Man. I'm being conservative. I think can't make 150 million opening weekend, and I would not be surprised if this movie made $200 million opening weekend. Now, to put some perspective, Endgame made like it's just an insane number, 330 million in its first 3 days. That's mind-boggling.
Hmm.
Venom made 90 million.
Yeah.
You telling me a Spider-Man movie with the three Spider-Man that's going to probably be marketed out of this world with the leaks and stuff that we already know, with how important it is to the MCU, with it being at Christmas time? You cannot tell me that this movie domestically, opening weekend, uh, won't make at least 150 million, especially
Oh,
after
I
how well
know.
Shang-Chi
But
and Venom has done.
I'm thinking entirely
Right.
350 million at the minimum.
I think that's too low.
But that's at the minimum. That's the lowest it could. I see it making.
I
I
think it's
think
going to touch a Billy.
I don't see it happening. I don't see it
I think it'll be
happening.
close, or it's going to touch a Billy.
I think
A lot depends on China, but I think it might touch a billion without China.
I think 100 mil. I think or 100 million, 500 million max.
Really?
I can't see it. We're middle of pandemic. We're about to go into flu season and whatnot. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I just
it's gonna get bad in like some states too. By the way, Ohio's one of
yeah
them.
yeah. Well, maybe there's obviously that aspect, and we're still in the midst of it. But um, I just I'm seeing signs that people are going to the movie theater in October. I just don't see I just don't see how this it would be an absolute failure to me if that movie made less than 150 million opening weekend.
I
I
know.
do so I think that's going to be my conservative number. I think the actual number when we do our predictions for it, I'm probably going to say 175 to 200 million opening
I think
weekend.
I think my predictions are gonna change depending on how Eternals does.
Okay,
I think also like when we look at it, like Eternals is gonna be a banger movie. It has to be.
absolutely. It
With
looks like a banner
with,
movie.
with the runtime that movie has, just barely longer than Infinity War.
Hmm.
Um, it's crazy. Did we ever get a time stamp or time for Spider-Man: No Way Home?
It was rumored to be around 2.5 hours, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's a lot to put in that movie, but it's also a lot. Which, by the way, have you been seeing the new Eternals trailers that they're putting out?
Well, that's funny enough. So I guess we could segue off of our Venom topic, and we could transition to that. Eternals has started its marketed. I don't know if you've seen the ads and stuff, but
Yes, they're my favorite. I love them so much.
um,
Whoa,
so uh,
he's the guy with the laser eyes and the cape. I don't wear a cape.
um, yeah, we see Fastos' family. Obviously, we get a lot more shots with Angelina Jolie's
Oh yeah.
Thena, and she's my new favorite. It was Icarus after those trailers, but
Nah, man.
the
After if anyone tries to tell me it was a Vision reference, actually, it was a Superman reference.
oh, totally.
Laser eyes, cape. Who are you gonna go to first?
I
Vision.
think I think it would be really funny if that in this universe in like Marvel, like the the Saturday morning or Sunday morning comic book cartoons that they watch are DC characters
Mm-hmm.
that are fake. Um,
Look,
they
I'm
couldn't do it on TV, but
I'm
just
just
allude to
asking
them.
you. I'm just asking you. I asked you, I think, this last week. Do you think in the next 10 years we could ever get a Marvel DC movie crossover?
Never say never. I'm not sure that's in the works right now, but I'm just gonna say
How
never
much
say never.
how much do you think it would make if we how much do you think it would make? I'll ask you this in two parts. If this were to happen and in place of Spider-Man No Way Home, a DC and Marvel crossover in the pandemic, how much do you think that would make?
Probably
That
a billion.
that would be the movie that would make $1 billion.
But the
Now,
thing is it's I'm gonna say it's probably never gonna happen just because I don't think Disney and Warner Brothers would ever come to an agreement like
now hold
that.
on.
So
Let me also ask if this didn't happen in the pandemic, this happened just standard movie year, like 2018, for example. How much do you think?
closer to two billies.
You think a DC and Marvel crossover would make way less than Avengers Endgame?
Probably.
Drew, what?
Yeah, I
This
just
this is literally arguably the two biggest franchises in history,
I can't even quantify it because I'm pretty sure it's never going to happen. DC, Disney, and Warner Brothers, it's never going to happen. I'm throwing it out. It's gone.
I mean, it probably won't happen, but it's a good thing to question.
Maybe, but it's never happening. Um, so Alex, I watched some of the marketing too. Again, I was really fascinated by Athena.
Mhm.
What is the speedster's name? I can't even think of it.
Kari.
Yes, cool. Speedsters in the MCU look a lot cooler than they do in DC, and they don't do the stupid
No,
slow motion thing.
stop, stop it. No, they don't
I
look
don't need,
cooler.
bro. You want to see the Flash running in slow motion? That's so stupid.
No, you need to watch CW
No, I
early
do not
season,
care.
early season CW Flash running. Let's not talk about the later seasons. Let's not talk about those yet.
I don't need to see that. Yeah, sure. The DC, the
They
whatever
just they
CW is
look
fine,
cooler.
but
They
I'm talking
look
about the
way
actual
cooler.
DC. I'm talking about the DCEU. I'm talking about the one that matters. Comparing it to
The
Marvel.
CW matters. What?
Right, but to that is like the Netflix shows of the MCU.
Come on now. No, it is much more. It is much better to see some cool lightning effects than some just like whoosh sound effects. Come
I'm
on,
talking
Drew.
about like not.
Aesthetic. Aesthetics.
Anyways, I just Marvel speedsters look better than DCEU
No,
speedsters.
Quicksilver was not cool. None of them. None of their runs were cool.
Dude, I don't want to see a fast person run in slow motion. I'd
You
like to
don't
see
have
how actually
to,
how fast they are moving.
but
The only
it
one
doesn't
that's
look right.
the only slow motion that has been cool is Evan Peters and the X-Men.
When was that slow mo? Oh,
Do you
like
not?
when he's like walking around and everything's like happening really slow around him.
Yes.
That's just talking. That's literally just how fast he's moving. That he can literally just do a bunch of random stuff that
Right.
ends up blowing up.
Right. But it's slow mo to us.
I guess.
Right. Anyways, you've ruined my whole entire point because
What?
you couldn't
What?
understand. Never. I'm joking. But yeah,
What?
what did you think of the rest of the advertising?
I'm excited, and I cannot wait. Icarus,
That's
bro. If he's as good as he is in these trailers as he's in the movie, oh, he's gonna be fighting some people to be my favorite superhero.
really.
Yes, he's so funny. I love how he talks.
Do you think there's a possibility he could become a bad guy?
No,
You don't think so?
no, I don't think I'm sorry. I was convinced the one guy who does the mind control. I was convinced he was gonna be the villain of the movie, and then he wasn't. So
I think he could be like a antagonist or a pest in the side. Like he was, like he mind controlled that village, but like the Eternals had to talk him out of it or something like that. Like
yeah,
how Wanda like mind controlled everyone, but like I
right.
gotta fix it. Which, by the way, the
Which
absurd that people still defend that character.
she was
Um,
hurting Drew. Come on now.
right, she was grieving.
Yeah. So let me
Guy
also
didn't.
ask you this: a power question. Where do you think the Eternals rank in the power scale?
They're probably all at the very least top 10.
They have to be. They literally have to be.
Yeah, they do.
If literally none, if you think about it, they basically make up like the top 20.
Oh, easily.
Like if you think about it, if you take if you take everybody who is not the Eternals, they literally are like how many people are in the Eternals? Like 10?
Yeah.
Like literally that's the top 10 right there. But who do you think is the most powerful of them all? We got Superman,
Icarus.
we got a reality or we got a matter warper.
Icarus.
Really? You think just because of his raw strength?
Yeah.
And
Think he
let me
whoops them
also
all.
ask you this. Thor versus Icarus, who's winning? This is I'm talking peak Thor, by the way, peak God of Thunder. You can put him when he's on Asgard at the end of Ragnarok, or you can put him when he has Stormbreaker during the Battle of Wakanda.
This is close, isn't it?
Dude, I gotta say Icarus, bro. I gotta say Icarus.
I'm gonna say if the fight's on Asgard, I'm taking Thor, but everywhere else, I'm taking Icarus.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna put that under that circumstance too. If it's Thor on Asgard, like fully powered up, then Thor. That
Yeah,
man,
I totally agree.
that man was like just crazy on Asgard. But like if it's on Earth with like Stormbreaker, he's powerful, but he's not Icarus powerful.
Right.
Like we have to think this is like the Marvel edition of Superman.
Yeah, and I also think that the character Kinko, played by, is it Kumail? Kumail? I don't know how to say it. The comedian,
Mhm.
funny. Kinko's just gonna be the funniest part of that movie, and I think the gentleman who plays Fastos is gonna be pretty funny. Which it's pretty
Yeah.
cool that Fastos is probably one of the more smarter MCU
Oh
characters,
yeah.
and I still wonder because they act like humans. Are they humans or are they robots? Because I'm
They,
thinking they're robots,
I think so too.
which I think sucks. Kind of. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like the
Mm.
concept, but I'll see how it's executed.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
And I will say their costumes are.
Really, I don't like them.
You
I think
know,
I think it's the worst costume design movie in
I
the
just like
in the MCU. By the way,
I like simplistic. I like how they're
but
different. They're
I don't
weird.
I don't like the gold. I don't like the gold on like the blues and the white.
Yeah. Do you got anything else to say? Because I'm done with that. If
No, it's just like I love you know how I am about costume design and whatnot, but
yeah,
like I don't like it with the Eternals. I don't like it. I think Icarus looks like those like ab suits that some actors wear. It looks like he's wearing like a really big poofy one.
yeah, it does. It looks a little weird. So I guess we could now transition into our final topic, which there wasn't much Star Wars news to talk about. So uh, we'll talk about a Kenobi rumor, when it's supposed to start. This comes from Jordan Mason, over at Cinelinx, and he says that Obi-Wan Kenobi could premiere on Disney Plus as soon as May of 2022.
May
Um,
4th, baby.
I think that makes the most sense. It's a Wednesday next year, and so we kind of got a better idea now of the schedule since Book of Boba Fett is out. That will probably run until sometime until February. So do you think that Andor will come out before Kenobi? Because I don't think so. I don't
No,
think
not
that's
anymore.
so. I think we probably won't get any Star Wars from Book of Boba until Kenobi. That's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering like what you think about that.
I think the new schedule is going to be Book of Boba Fett wraps up probably in I don't know how many episodes it is. We'll say February, March time. I
Yeah,
think
if it's 6 episodes, I believe it's February the 2nd, and if it's eight, it's February the 16th.
so. I'll probably say we probably have a gap from then. I'll say after Kenobi, since it's a pretty short series. How many episodes is it? 4,
Six.
6. Okay. Wow, they're doing a lot of 6 episode shows for some reason on Disney Plus.
Hmm.
Um, I'll probably say then probably about like September-ish time we'll probably get Andor, and then probably December time we'll get Mando season 3.
What do you think Bad Batch fits into all that?
Honestly, I don't think it does.
I think Mando's probably going to be 2023 now.
Really, you think they're gonna try to end us off on Bad Batch? Because if that's the case, then I
Probably.
think they're gonna end us off. I think they're gonna end us off on a live action show.
Well, I think that the live action shows are all going to come out back to back to back, basically. So, like, it'll go Boba Fett, it'll go Kenobi, and then it will go Andor.
Mm.
And then they'll be like, have the Bad Batch be like the what if type of show where it's a bridge show. Um, that's what I think they do, but I'm not sure because I just when I if Kenobi is coming out that late and that's the second show of 2022, that would end in June, and then he would have Andor going from late June to like September, and
I
then you could have
also I want to also mention WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier only had a 1 week gap from the WandaVision finale to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier premiere. We could absolutely have that again with Star Wars.
yeah, I totally think
So
that's what's gonna happen.
we gotta keep those options available.
But I think if Andor releases in February, because I think this May release date is right because it just makes a lot of sense. May the 4th, have
See,
Kenobi come out.
yeah, it's I was gonna say it's obviously the most hyped thing right now for Star Wars right now.
It might be the most, probably the top 5 most hyped thing in the last decade.
Yeah,
Up there with Infinity War, Endgame, No Way Home, this, and The Force Awakens.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. But if Andor comes out in February and goes into May, then I think Mando 3 will come out in
Mm.
2022. But I don't know if you know this. There's a strike with a bunch of the production,
Oh
not on
boy.
Mando, but just in Hollywood in general. There's a strike. They want to get paid more. That's great. That's fantastic. Um, but I think productions on stuff is being delayed. I don't know how much it's affecting things, but
Mm.
I think it's more for television and film than it is for movies. But yeah, anyways, it, if again Andor comes out in February, then Kenobi will still be in May, and we
Yeah.
will get Mando 3 in 2022. But if that doesn't happen and Kenobi's the second show, because Boba Fett's basically 2022. I mean, it's the last week of 2021 it comes out.
L- Literally, it's 2 days before the end of the year.
Right. And yeah, that's what I think. I just if Andor is not out before Kenobi and Kenobi's in May, Mando 3 won't happen until
Yeah.
2023.
But again, I just want to leave it up to again possibility that you know we had WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier be a week separated, and I think we also had Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki like what was it like 2 months separated.
I believe so, yeah.
So we can have literally anything.
Well, we also have to remember that Loki and Falcon were 6 episodes each, and we're dealing with Andor as 12, and we don't know how long the Book of Boba Fett is.
Yeah,
So it all
and,
depends on episode
and I also
lengths.
don't think we'll ever get any like overlap with shows. I doubt we
No,
ever
it wouldn't
get
make
that.
sense.
Yeah, marketing, financial, whatnot.
But we're gonna get Star Wars and Marvel on this the same day, which
But
is
and that's the biggest concern going forward. Isn't Moon Knight coming out next year? She Hulk. Isn't
Secret
there
Invasion.
Secret Invasion? Those are huge shows coming out next year.
Right. I
You
think
give me
I think all the Star Wars shows I care more about, but
yeah, absolutely next year. Depending on how Moon Knight goes, I'm really excited for Moon Knight.
right.
You can
I
tell.
love Oscar Isaac, but I also love the costume that we
And
saw. So
so beautiful.
it is. It is. Yeah, Alex, that's all I got to talk about. Do you got anything to talk about that interested you or that fascinated you? We
Not
were
really.
gonna talk we were gonna talk about a Book of Boba Fett scene leak, but as you know, Alex, it doesn't
No,
want to talk about it
no
as much.
major spoilers. No major
Right.
spoilers.
I talked about it on my TikTok. If you want to go check it out at Hand Me to Man, it comes from Star Wars Newsnet. It is, I will say, it is a minor thing that would probably be in a trailer. Um, but yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody for coming on. We'll be back next Wednesday for our solo re-review. And we'll talk about some other things. We'll see what we talk about. Until next time, may the force be with you. Peace.